Welcome to the name game. Workout number 76 is Sir Axlerod. 4 rounds for time. 20 calorie air bike, 15 axle bar clean and jerks at 135.95, 10 bar facing burpees, and a 50-foot bear hug sandbag carry. Sandbag for males is 150 pounds. Sandbag for females is 100 pounds. Let's get into standards. So for the air bike, calories are the same for males and females, and you have to reset the bike each round. The axle bar clean and jerk. We'll talk about equipment subs in here in a second, but in terms of the standard for the axle bar clean and jerk, it's got to go from ground to front rack to overhead. In terms of how you grip that bar, up to you. However, the standard is no different than the regular clean and jerk. The bar facing burpees, you do not have to do a 2-foot takeoff. It's perfectly fine if you take off with 1 foot, but you do have to jump. So that's the 2022 open standard. For the 50-foot sandbag bear hug carry. Again, bear hug meaning it's got to be out in front of your body. It can't be up on a shoulder. And we're going to go 2 lengths of 25 feet. At the turnaround, you have to, when you pick it up, you have to make sure your toes are behind the line. And then when you turn around at the end point, you have to make sure both feet go past the line before you turn around to come back, and before you set the bag down, both heels cross the line. Besides that, the setup is up to you. Now let's loop in Coach Chris. We'll talk about strategy.
So first impressions is we're utilizing a piece of equipment we haven't yet. And frankly, I don't think any of us really utilize it a lot in the axle bar. I think it's kind of cool because it's another little nuance to throw into training, a bar that doesn't spin, fat grip. And so I think that'll be fun. In addition to that, most of the time is going to be spent manipulating that axle bar.
It's a lot of reps, 60 in fact.
Yes. And
no time
so
count?
I know
Your coach might impose one.
Yeah,
if it gets really crazy.
Yeah, I think that'll kind of be athlete specific, but no time. If you got the time, we're gonna run it.
I think it's good sometimes, like not to have that as a backstop, or if you like overpace it or something, you're gonna fall apart. It's like, I think it's really good. Like, for example, in the games this year in the Capitol, they didn't have a time cap because they're like, you're gonna finish this workout because everyone's gonna get the same, like, you can't just like sandbag it, finish, and then like go on to the next event fresher than everybody else. Like, you got to do the work. So I think it's good to have an event like that, even if it's not something that, it smashes you, to be honest. Like, that's okay. So that, and the combination of, it's a new implement for most people, or they haven't done it in this sort of format before. It's kind of different and fun, like we were talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, in addition to that, and I'm sure people who it's like, and not saying anyone, there might be some people who need to scale the weight, but it's like people who should be scaling, but because there's a cap, they'll just be like, no, I'm just going to do it as prescribed.
The cap will save me. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, you got 2 rounds of this workout when you're supposed to really get 8. And it's like, you did not get what I wanted you to out of this workout. And so sometimes when there's no cap, it incentivizes people to scale appropriately, because it's like, oh man, if I don't scale this right, I'm going to be here forever.
Right. And I would probably use that as, again, we always say like what to use as your guide for like scaling. Like, if you're like, man, this workout is going to take me all day because I'm going to have to be like hands on knees in between reps of the clean and jerk because that's heavy for me or whatever. Like, okay, then scale it back 15 or 20 pounds. Like, I think, again, one of the comments we've gotten is like, could you prescribe specific weights for workouts in like terms of scales? And I think that works sometimes, but other times you need to know, like, you just need to know yourself and your capacity. Like, man, what's this going to feel like? Am I just going to be waiting around forever so I can keep doing clean and jerks? Like, if that's the case, you're not able to just kind of do drop and reset quick singles, like scale the weight back a little bit.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we talked about before we got on, was like, with this workout, the way the rep schemes are, again, you're going to be spending most of your time doing the axle bar clean and jerks, but because it's an axle bar, no one's going touch and go with the barbell. So you're kind of forced to have that like rhythmic clean and jerk singles. And so if you pace it out appropriately, this can be relatively aerobic if you have a decent aerobic base to just, all right, hey, I'm going to be moving pretty consistently for the 4 rounds. So if you can do that effectively, then kind of the better scores are going to be who can limit the transitions, and not just limit the transitions between movements, but in movement, right? So if I'm doing axle bar clean and jerk singles and I'm taking a second between reps versus someone who's taking 3 seconds between reps, obviously I'm going faster, right? Regardless of how fast the actual movement is being done. And so limiting those transitions is really what's going to make someone faster in this workout, unless they're just, super, super slow on the bike. But I know you mentioned, not everyone might have axle bars. So if I don't have an axle bar, what am I going to do?
Yeah. So we came up with kind of two different options if you don't have the axle bar. What we're thinking here is like what's sort of the goal of the axle bar? It was novel, it was fun, it was different, and it requires a bit more focus and just a little bit different technique, obviously. So we want to preserve that as much as we can. So if somebody's got fat grips, like the little thing that you stick on the bar and it makes it like a fat bar, that's exactly what it's like supposed to simulate. You can put those on there. I have those. I'll probably end up taping them because they have like the holes in the back. So I don't want them sliding all over the place. So I'll probably like literally take some like athletic tape, wrap it around once or twice on each of them so it stays in place. And that's going to be my fat bar. For somebody else, if you don't have that, we're going to go 155, 105. So scale up the weight a little bit. And we're also going to say no hook grip on that bar. What that means is because you're not going to be able to hook grip when you have a fat bar. You're really just, you're not going to be able to get anywhere close to touching your fingers to your thumb. So that kind of simulates that a little bit. If you got a bar that doesn't spin well, or like an old beater bar that's a little bit thicker, or like a rusty bar, literally anything that's like off from what you would normally do, try to make the clean jerk as unideal as you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you just, if all you have is your regular Olympic bar, then no hook grip and up the weight a little bit to 155, 105.
Yeah. And for me, I've actually done this workout before and it was fun. So I was like, all right, hey, Ben, we're going to do this for the name game. When I grip the axle bar, some people will kind of have big, strong hands to grip in there. I find that my hands aren't as strong as maybe relative to just my forearm. So I kind of go like monkey grip, hands or thumbs next to my hand. So this way I can get most of my hands underneath the bar as opposed to like grabbing it like that. So just a little tidbit of strategy, kind of playing with how you're going to clean the axle bar.
Yeah. It's sort of like when it gets to a certain circumference, like you're better off having the hands together. Like you don't flip a tire with your thumb up.
Right.
Like you keep that thumb in line because you're not going to be able to get the thumb around anyway. It's like same thing if you've ever done like one of those like globe pull-ups where it's like one of those big metal balls. It's the same thing. Like you're only going to be able to put your hand with your thumb next to your hand, that monkey grip. So if someone's got big hands, I think the thumb underneath is fine. Sure. If someone and people play with that with the pull-up too. Like if you're doing pull-ups or muscle ups, like do you have your thumb underneath? Do you have your thumb over top? I think generally, I don't think it's necessarily wrong either way, but I'll play around with it before the workout and figure out what allows you to kind of feel secure when you're actually pulling the bar.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts or feedback on this workout?
Yeah. Again, what I would think about is time domain for a lot of people. So you're at 80 calories on the air bike, 60 clean and jerks with sort of an otter implement, 40 bar-facing burpees, and 200 feet of sandbag carries. So the sandbag carries are sort of an afterthought here. We were talking about this. The one thing that's going to be challenging is oftentimes people are used to doing sandbags where it's like either a posterior chain thing that's really going to light them up and like it feels like you have a huge pump and that's what's slowing you down. Other times it might be like a grip thing. Those both could have a little bit of impact, but we really think it's more about the breathing because the sandbag's got to sit on your chest. You can't hold it on your shoulder. So it's going to be sitting like basically on your diaphragm. It's going to make it really hard to breathe when you've done a really aerobic workout. You're going to be breathing hard each time you get to that sandbag carry since it's the last thing each round. So yeah, that's obviously going to be the challenge that I see here.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that sandbag, again, because it's not very far, when I did this workout, my thought was, okay, as soon as I get done with the burpees, I want to scoop it up and just get it done because the longer I hold it on my chest, the tougher it's going to be when I hit the bike. So
move quick.
That 100%. That's the part of the workout I would just think about like, all right, hey, I got to get this moving so that even if I want to take a little bit more time transitioning to the bike to catch my breath a little bit, I can do that without the pressure on my chest or on my diaphragm.
Yeah, it'd be like doing clean and jerks where you like rest like 5 seconds of the front rack before you jerk it. Like you don't do that. Like that'd be ridiculous. So you want to get it up, get moving as quickly as you can with it still being smooth and then move on. So yeah, anything else?
No, that's it. Sounds, I like it. So get after it, guys.
And lastly, we encourage as many people as possible to jump in with you and do these workouts. So you've got people who want to throw down with you, by all means, encourage them to do that. However, we want everyone to submit their scores, right? So where you're gonna go to is zorfitness.com. You'll hit on menu, drop down from the protocol, you'll hit that tab called Name Game, and then you'll go down to the first workout, which should be the newest one, and you're gonna click that little green arrow. There you'll be able to enter your name, as long also with the workout name. That's important because it tags it so it doesn't get lost in the forum later on. But then you obviously are gonna put your score or your time, and then you'll submit it. If you click on that little number next to it, you're gonna see all the other comments, right? You might actually not be able to view them all, so if you hit view all comments, that's gonna take you down sort of a leaderboard where you get to compare scores, and then also your coach gets to help determine where you stack up versus other competitors to be able to determine your individual weaknesses. It's gonna be super helpful for us, pretty exciting and engaging for you guys. And if you're someone who's watching this, you're not a Zor Fitness athlete yet, I'll link to it below, but you can either check out the protocol or one-on-one coaching, and we'll reach out, see if you're a good fit. And for everyone, best of luck on the workout.